We want to recap for our viewers. 62-year-old Frank James has been apprehended and arrested and charged with that subway shooting. He's facing federal charges, a terrorist attack on mass transit, and if convicted, he will face up to life in prison.
And there's a lot of unanswered questions here. We do want to bring in Robert Strang. He is a former DEA agent, also the CEO of Investigative Management. Bob, thank you very much for joining us. It took less than 30 hours to track down this suspect. How were officials able to find him so quickly?
Well, you heard John Miller and the police commissioner. It's with the public's help. It was amazing. This was really a partnership between the two groups. Also, behind the scenes, what we didn't see was, NYPD and the intelligence agencies dealing with the ATF. John DeVito, the special agent in charge, working with John Miller, who's the deputy police commissioner for terrorism. They've been working together, putting kind of a plan together for quite some time. So there's been a lot of work done to try to prevent these kinds of issues, and a lot of work done within the ATF and NYPD to respond to these issues. So we've been really kind of keeping our eye on this. And I did want to touch on one thing. When he was identified in the park, and you asked about whether or not anybody else was aware of it, when you arrest someone like this who has already tried to kill so many people, it's very organized. You identify the person, you call for backup, and you make sure that you can arrest him without incident, because he could have another type of explosive with him. There may be other people involved that are sitting close by. So it's a combination of factors when you do something like that.
Bob, we just want to point out that while you're on screen, I don't know if you can see this, but we're showing our viewers some new surveillance video that apparently shows the suspect walking by in that orange vest, wearing that mask, that gas mask, as it's been described, carrying some sort of backpack, which may be the backpack that police found later at the scene. But now we do have some images of him allegedly from that day. I don't know whether this is from before or after the attack, but that is what we're looking at there. So Bob, as you mentioned, NYPD had hundreds of detectives on this. They had, New Yorkers calling in Crime Stoppers. We talked about this earlier, how the city utilized that emergency broadcast system, sending out, texts to everybody's phone at the same time this morning. So all of that came together to result in this arrest, which, again, as you said, went off without a hitch. So would you say that the New York City Police Department handled this well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is amazing. That video that you just saw obviously was what they were able to determine when they went back on the end line. And that's how they ultimately were able to identify him. They had to go back every stop because if you remember, where the crime was committed, he actually, none of the CCTV was operable. So they had to follow back, and that's what you got there. Believe me, that was before he was arrested, because if they saw that, they'd arrest him right away. NYPD, as always, did a great job here. But again, with the help of ATF and the FBI, and we're very fortunate to have that kind of coordination here in New York City.
And I am hearing from my producers that this video that we're looking at is from before the alleged attack. Yeah. So,
that's for sure, because they would have immediately arrested him if it was after. That's for sure.
Also, Bob, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this. We heard about how many states that this suspect has had ties to over the past years. When you have something like this happen, can you talk about that interagency collaboration and what goes into trying to learn as much as you can about someone involved in something like this?
Right. It's complicated. And that's one of the reasons why, the relationships like with the agent in charge of ATF, DeVito, and NYPD is so important, because when things like this do occur, number one, it's a preventative operation that's put into place. They try to identify people like him that shouldn't have a weapon, that get a weapon. Mm-hmm. That's number one, and go visit them and take the weapon away. Number two, when an incident does happen, they've got enough intelligence and information to be able to move right away. Who owns the gun? Where was it purchased? All those kinds of things. So, NYPD was able to use that weapon to work with ATF to backtrack where it was bought in Ohio, while at the same time, NYPD and the other agencies looking at all of the video from the other stops on the train until they found exactly the description of the video that we just saw. It was those things, working with the public, that ultimately made this a safe arrest. And thank God nobody during this whole process was killed.
So, Bob, I want to get back to that gun, that 9mm Glock that was recovered at the scene that has been tied to the suspect and that officials say he bought in Ohio legally. And I want to ask you, of course, you know, gun regulations vary from state to state, and I'm not intimately familiar with the gun regulations in Ohio. But we were also told by officials that he has a long rap sheet in several states. No felony convictions prior to this one, but a long rap sheet. Can someone with a rap sheet as extensive as his from several states legally purchase a gun?
You wouldn't think so. How he was able to get away with it is beyond me. I think also part of the issue is, you know, when we look at these arrests that we've made over time, sometimes they're released, they're always reduced to a misdemeanor, and people that should have a convicted felony on their record don't. You know, right now there's a lot going on with the fact that less people are arrested. And in fact, the ones that are arrested with bail reform are right back out on the street. And it's distracting to the police officers out there and to people's safety because, you know, you've got to be able to arrest people and follow through with the potential prosecution so this kind of thing doesn't happen. But if we go on like we're going now, where it's a revolving door and people come in the criminal justice system in the morning and they're gone that afternoon, you know, unfortunately, we're going to see more incidents like this. We can't go on like this.
And Bob, we also heard from officials asking the public still for more information, setting up that website, soliciting more videos, more tips. What are the next steps for the investigation now that the suspect is in custody?
Right. Well, certainly it's a big relief. Now we're going to look at things like we'll look at the cell phone. We'll look at all of his social media, which we have obviously started to do once he was identified. But they'll get a search warrant and they'll go to his home and they'll take information. They'll look for people that might be co-conspirators. Well, you know, did he act alone or were there other people involved? Was he following some type of political or religious organization as a terrorist? Those are the kinds of questions that we want to answer now. Did he act alone? Was he involved in a conspiracy? Are there other people out there that could do something like this, that part of a group that follows some political or religious cult or terrorist group? Those are the kinds of things. And they have plenty of ways to do that now. Now that he's been arrested, they can do these search warrants. They can do these interviews, and they'll find out pretty quickly.
A lot of answers still needed. Bob Strang, former DEA agent and CEO of Investigative Management, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it.